Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. Gao Wu, letting you take pictures, you wholesale supernatural powers. Chapter 71. A thick bloody smell filled the air. The black gold overlord's spear pierced through the dark cave lizard's head, and the blood-red lines on the gun flowed. With a pop, the spear retracted. The dark cave lizard's high head fell to the ground. The strange beast that exuded a violent aura last second had no aura at this moment. At the scene, Niu Zicheng took a step back in disbelief, and it was so harsh to break a branch with his foot. As a non-martial artist, he single-handedly killed the fourth-rank dark cave lizard. What kind of monster is this? The way Niu Zicheng and the others looked at Su Yu changed. At first there was a little arrogance, but now there is only horror and admiration in his eyes. Su Yu beheaded the third-grade alien beast alone. Great, but they think they can do it if they give themselves a little time. The fourth-grade strange beast beheaded by 5 people is amazing. They can't do it, but they are far from reaching the point of looking up. After all, this is a team battle, maybe give them a suitable team, and they can do it too. However, when witnessing with his own eyes that Su Yu beheaded the fourth-rank alien beast alone, all the pride and self-confidence in their hearts were instantly shattered. At this moment, how many people understand that the gap between them and Su Yu is like a moat? This is a gap that cannot be closed for any reason. In the observation room, look at these geniuses who have been completely hit. Cheng Yang rubbed his chin. I remember, your original purpose was to let these geniuses hit Su Yu, right? Zhu Yun glanced at this good classmate who didn't mention which pot to open. Hit this kid. Now I'm afraid that this kid will make other people emo. It was agreed to be a tactical genius, but in the end he abused all these martial arts geniuses. This picture is so beautiful that Zhu Yun dare not think about it. Suddenly, he felt that he could accept Su Yu to study combat. Just imagine, when the aliens tried their best to complete the beheading operation, they were surprised to find that this head was the biggest boss. That picture is also worth looking forward to. Zhu Yun thought about it. Feng Wan suddenly said, speaking of which, I have to thank Professor Zhu Yun for allowing Su Yu to participate in this training camp. Otherwise, we would have missed a great talent. As soon as the words fell, Qian Yun's face turned bitter instantly. Mada, the ducks have already reached their mouths, and these dogs are still thinking about taking food from their mouths. In the observation room, the joys and sorrows of each other are not connected. Seeing how many people Niu Zi had grown up with, Deng Ji said again, actually, it's also a good thing for them. They can know the gap between them and the real monsters earlier. It will be more down to earth to work hard. Instead of looking for various reasons, I always feel that if it is them, they can do it. We have seen too many geniuses who aim too high and end up wasting their lives. I'm afraid I'll never recover from it. Feng Wan smiled wryly and shook his head. HMPH, let's go down early so as not to waste national resources. Ba Ting snorted coldly. After Su Yu killed the fourth-grade dark cave lizard, all the talents in the small wilderness once again witnessed Su Yu's team's points surge by 50,000, and the total points reached more than 210,000. Officially reached the top of the standings. At the same time, the X-Men Boxu team gained 50,000 points, ranking 9th with a total of more than 70,000 points. Needless to say, everyone knows it. The two teams worked together to kill a rank 4 beast. Su Yu and the others don't consume energy and blood when killing strange beasts. This question popped up in the minds of the Tianzhou. Gao Shi is letting everyone in the team take a good rest and wait for the night to hunt again. Hao Zhiming, Wu Linlin and other team members are still in the process of breaking through, and they are not able to hunt for the time being. For a moment, Su Yu and the others seemed extremely stable in the number 1 position. Refreshing everyone's impression time and time again, so far no one will regard it as a team that goes through the back door. In the wilderness, Pang Wen and the others, who were still recovering after killing the third-rank alien beast, also saw the increase in the points of Su Yu's team. Captain, their points have increased again. It's too obvious to go through the back door. The hot-blooded boy looked unhappy. This time, no one in the squad shouted injustice with him. Pang Wen didn't speak, and silently cancelled the spiritual imprint hanging on Lin Yan's body. They did nothing today. Meeting Su Yu and the others was really pure coincidence. However, while giving up, Pang Wen still didn't understand. You are so powerful, why did you lie to us? Could it be that you have made up your mind about the points of us people? Thinking about it, Pang Wen shuddered. There is definitely something wrong with that squad. Stay away. It's better to stay away. Let's change to another place, he suddenly suggested. Changing another place. Some team members didn't understand. Just get out and choose a new path, or let's hunt other teams and stop activities in this area. Pang Wen explained. Seeing how many people are still in a state of confusion, he posed, hide Sue and them far away. If you can't make it into the top 10, don't be the last one. Several people understood instantly. Go, let's go. I'm resting too, let's go. Before the cave. After Su Yu killed the cave lizard, he sat down on the ground and began to recover. It's really cool to kill a 4th rank alien beast by one person, but it also consumes a lot of energy and blood. After killing, if it is not carried in one breath. He didn't even have the strength to hold the Overlord gun. At the same time, Su Yu once again realized a shortcoming of his poor talent. The recovery of chi and blood is extremely slow. This is because the talent has reached the level of AD level ordinary person, if it is changed to before. He has every reason to believe that with this energy and blood, he needs at least 1 day and 1 night to recover. Wrong. It was 3 days and 2 nights. He suddenly remembered the energy and blood of not advancing but retreating back then. Speaking of 1 day and 1 night, he was still too confident in his talent. Knowing that Examen Boxu and the others were waiting, Su Yu recovered about 1 floor and stood up. Examen Boxu said excitedly, Brother Su Yu, your bravery is comparable to that of contemporary Liu Bu. Su Yu, this guy must have read too many comic books since he was a child. Bo Shui, you are exaggerating. In fact, I have also consumed a lot, and I am not as relaxed as you seem. Next, I'm going to restore my blood here. Let's see what you have planned. Examen Boxu looked at Su Yu, and then at the 4 people beside him. He really wanted to say to stay and wait for Su Yu to recover before leaving, but after thinking about it, he still gritted his teeth and said, Brother Su Yu, then let's continue hunting. If you have 50,000 points and we can't make it into the top 10, then we really have no face to be friends with you. With that said, Niu Zicheng and others also came forward to say goodbye. Compared with the previous arrogant attitude, they are now extraordinarily polite. When the 5 left, Examen Boxu took 3 steps and 1 look back. Seeing this, Su Yu immediately looked at Song Qinghuan. Qinghuan, you have to trust me, I really have nothing to do with him. Su Yu's sudden words made everyone laugh. Song Qinghuan was a little cute at first and didn't react. Immediately, he was also infected by Lin Yan's hearty laughter. A smile appeared on his face. Looking at Su Yu with sparkling eyes and a sweet smile. On the side, even the corner of Fu Yu's mouth twitched slightly. A day of intense fighting seemed to be a lot easier because of this sentence. Su Yu unhurriedly took out the camera. Use the Overlord gun to find various angles and insert it on the dark cave lizard's body. Compared with the beginning, it was simply to collect illustrations and take pictures. He really wanted to leave a handsome picture of this first RANK-4 beast that he killed alone. Of course, in the eyes of others, he is whipping corpses. Taking pictures and whipping corpses, this habit made several teachers in the observation room a little worried. This kid still looks normal now, right? Congratulations to the host for obtaining the 4th grade exotic beast in the illustration book, Dark Cave Lizard. Close black lens bracket. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the attribute reward agility plus 500. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the S-level Hellfire ability fragment plus 1/2. The host can recover 100% of blood. Su Yu was dumbfounded again. What about the 1 in 10,000 probability? Why turned around and successfully collected another one? If you play the system like this, some people will really suspect that I am cheating. What is the recoverable blood of the system? The host's energy and blood enhancement has reached the limit, and the energy and blood enhancement as a reward for obtaining the illustrated book will be replaced by energy and blood recovery. Close black lens bracket. Then can I still increase my blood according to the illustrated book in the future? The host novice protection period is coming to an end. If the host wants to increase his vitality, he must collect different illustrations to increase his vitality. Close black lens bracket. I'm still in the novice protection period. Su Yu was stunned. After the novice protection period, are there any other changes? The system will increase the collection of fetters, and the host will receive different rewards if all the fetters are collected. Close black lens bracket. Gone. For specific changes, the host is asked to explore by himself. Close black lens bracket. It is more difficult to increase the vitality in blood, but there are more ways to restore the vitality in blood. In addition, there are more fetters. In Su Yu's view, after the novice period, the help brought by the system is greater than it is now. Of course, it is normal for the difficulty to increase accordingly. Otherwise, wouldn't it be easier to just add points with one click and destroy planets with one hand? There are difficulties and rewards ahead, and he looks forward to it even more. No need to ask the system, he also knows that the so-called novice period should be before becoming a warrior. If he wants to unlock these new functions, then he can consider officially stepping into the realm of warriors. Although it can be done immediately, he is still prepared to wait. Going straight to 212 is already scary. In another 2 days, the blood will be 300, and he is really afraid that he will be sliced. He is not sure what the high-level people in this world are like. It is a matter of life. Can you be more cautious or cautious? How can it take 4 or 5 days? After Su Yu finished taking the photo, he turned on the wristband and looked at the ranking list. They ranked first with 210,000, and Gao Zai's team ranked second with 200,000. There are still 6 teams between 100,000 and 15 left. Immediately after was the 9th place Examen Boxu team with more than 70,000 points. The 10th to 15th places are all above 50,000 points. Going further back, there are teams with less than 50,000 points. The upper grades of the standings are already very obvious, competing for the top 3 and top 10. Also responsible for making soy sauce. Of course, it is not ruled out that there are teams whose targets are other teams from the beginning. There are 19 teams, and Su Yu remembers the information of each team very clearly. Even if the last 5 points were less than 50,000, he kept an eye out. Arrogance is a tactician's worst enemy. Seeing that Su Yu was looking at the points, Lin Yan also came over. He was a little curious. Why are their points not moving again? Are you still hunting 4th grade beasts? Don't they need to rest? Su Yu smiled. It's fine if it's just hunting 4-rank exotic beasts, I'm afraid they are all holding back and making trouble. What's going on? Lin Yan was puzzled for a while. Song Qingwan turned his eyes and said, I'm afraid someone is about to break through and become a warrior. Su Yu nodded. So, our points are not stable. Cao Cao immediately said, then shall we go hunting strange beasts? Rest first, and review the battles of the past 2 days. Su Yu shook his head. No matter how urgent it is to catch up with points. He wasn't going to take the 4 of them on a tireless hunt either. In the fight for the first place, he still has the premise of ensuring everyone's safety. This is also his responsibility as the captain. After several battles today, whether it is blood or mental strength, everyone has been seriously exhausted. Rest is a must. Su Yu's tone was affirmative. No matter how anxious the crowd was to hunt strange beasts, they would not object to his decision. In addition, Su Yu also silently added a sentence in his heart. If these Tianzhou are pushing too hard, then don't blame him for being unreasonable and directly flipping the table. 300 qi and blood are promoted to warriors, and the number of metamorphosis is 9. There is also the system to help restore qi and blood. He is looking forward to it, and he will let it go. I don't know if these arrogances will change their minds and target him. If so, that's pretty good too. So far, he hasn't fought anyone else. A group of people rest on the spot. Instead of entering the dark cave, they began to recover their vitality and mental strength outside. Song Qingwan had never practiced spiritual power skills. Today's mental energy consumption is serious, and I can only rely on closing my eyes to rest my mind to recover. She also felt a little anxious about this, and was very afraid that she would not be able to help Su Yu in the future. Just as she was thinking, Su Yu came to her side. Qinghuan, you should focus on cultivating qi and blood, try to raise your qi and blood to 200 as soon as possible. I have the Overlord Spear, we don't need to use abilities like before. Song Qingwan stared a little unconvinced. But after thinking about it, She also realized that she had walked into a misunderstanding. She nodded obediently and said, "Okay, I'll listen to you." Song Qingwan began to practice breathing. On the side, Lin Yan looked at Su Yu expectantly, as if waiting for him to give advice. "Lin Yan, the mark on your body seems to have disappeared." Su Yu's eyes brightened slightly. "It seems that he should have given up," Fu Yu said. Lin Yan immediately moved her whole body, feeling comfortable all over. At this time, Su Yu's ears moved slightly. "Someone is here again." As he spoke, he glanced at Lin Yan. "Stop torturing yourself." Lin Yan chuckled. So he changed the angle, and he began to try to recall the aura of Su Yu when he fought just now. The other side, Pang Wen and the others hurried on their way. "Hurry up, we've been here before, try to get out before dark. If you can't blushing in goodbye, can you still blushing?" Su Yu didn't know why. When he looked at Pang Wen and the others who were looking at each other, this line of lyrics came to mind. In the spiritual world, everyone else was stunned. Pang Wen stood on the spot, clutching all 10 toes tightly. At the moment when they met head-on, he scolded himself hundreds of times in his heart. "Why do you want to remove the imprint? Are you stupid? You can't hunt them, there is a mark and you can still hide and go." Pang Wen regretted it too late. A group of 10 people, you look at me, I look at you. I don't know what to say at all. The most embarrassing one was Lin Yan, who was bursting with exuberant aura. When Pang Wen and the other 5 saw him in this state, they were all stunned. There are big question marks all over his little head. "No, you are not like this in the morning. What about being attacked by a second-grade alien beast as promised, and weak like a sister Lin? What do you mean by the way you look like you can hit 5 in 1? Cough cough. In a strange atmosphere, Su Yu finally broke the silence with 2 coughs. "Student Pang Wen, who are you?" Pang Wen showed a smile that was uglier than crying. "We are going to change the road to hunt. There are students Su Yu in this area, and these points are all in your pocket. Our team thinks we are no match, and we are going to change to a less competitive one." "Oh, that's how it is. Pang Wen is getting dark now, you must pay attention to safety along the way," Su Yu urged enthusiastically. Pang Wen nodded. "Thank you, brother Su Yu, for reminding us that night is approaching, so we won't stay any longer. Both parties have sworn to the death not to mention what happened this morning." The 5 members of Pang Wen's team left here as if fleeing. The moment he stayed away from Su Yu and the others, Pang Wen suddenly felt that it would be better not to hunt other teams in this training camp. It must have been Mercury retrograde recently. In fact, relying on their own strength, it is not impossible to compete for the top 10. Even if you don't get the top 10, it's better than meeting these monsters. The 5 left sadly. Song Qingwan burst out laughing. Chow Chow directly covered her stomach. On the contrary, Lin Yan asked in a little confusion, "Brother Su Yu, do you think my human design will collapse in the future? They won't arrange me everywhere after they go out, will they? In fact, I'm usually very honest in school, and I don't lie." The voice fell. Su Yu also laughed out loud. Another unexpected turn of events completely let everyone relax. "Come on, since we're all back here, let's spend the night at the same place yesterday." Su Yu picked up his backpack. Back to yesterday's cave again. Everyone felt inexplicably like a world away. Su Yu looked at his personal panel and felt even more deeply. Open black lens bracket name, Su Yu close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket talent, declose black lens bracket. Abilities, SSS Ice Age, SSS Lucky Favor incomplete. Martial Arts, Lost Steps Proficient. Name, Low-Level Tactician, Ordinary Illustrated Book Collector. Close black lens bracket. Skills, Tactical Understanding Master, Spearmanship Proficient, Swordsmanship Proficient, Fighting Proficient, Dagger Intermediate, Bicycle Driving Skills Intermediate. Physique High Dimensional Attribute 281 Vitality. Spirit High Dimensional Attribute 354 Hz. Close black lens bracket. Strength Low Dimensional Attribute 2610. Agility Low Dimensional Attribute 3580. Illustrated Book Collection 109 1/1000. Ability Fragment, S-Class Hellfire 2. Seriously, when leaving this cave in the morning, he never thought that he would come back, let alone that his personal data panel would look like this in less than 24 hours. The basic speed was not weaker than that of the second-grade beast, and the strength was not much different. The ability even directly owns a complete SSS-level Ice Age. Not only that, but there is also an incomplete SSS-level Lucky Favor and 2S-level Hellfire Fragments. And he still hasn't figured out how much blood to increase. Su Yu felt that he urgently needed to settle down, otherwise such an improvement would be difficult to not drift. After thinking about it, he decided to keep a low profile first. Just raise your chi and blood to 290 for now. So, it's still that cave, that place, and that person. His blood surged again. In the observation room, several directors touched their chins at the same time. The red-faced man squinted his eyes. It's only been a battle, and his blood has recovered. If you want to improve your chi and blood, your own chi and blood must reach the most vigorous state. This is the common sense of cultivation. It's a little kid knows things. The deputy department of the education department asked, but no one at the scene felt that there was something wrong with the question he asked. Zhu Yun also looked at Cheng Yang. This kid recovers his chi and blood so fast, what did the previous one do that he didn't even have 100 chi and blood? Cheng Yang didn't bother to talk to him. If he knew, would he be despised by so many people today? At this time, the staff of the data team said, the data shows that when Su Yu was in the mother's womb when he was a child, he suffered from a secret disease, which caused his blood to be even worse than that of ordinary people. His chi and blood began to increase rapidly, that is when the Soviet army gave him a first-grade blood crystal. So, it was this first-grade blood crystal that cured the child's ailment and allowed him to restore the talent he should have, not that one first-grade blood crystal that had such a powerful effect. Qian Yun said. The Minister of Education smiled. Like I said, it doesn't really matter what made him soar. We just need to know that he is now a talent that is definitely worth cultivating. Xiao Yang, what happened to the matter I asked you to investigate? He said again. Report to the minister, Su Yu has never had contact with foreign races, and the only person he has contact with foreign races is Mr. Cheng Yang. Unless Mr. Cheng Yang rebelled, Su Yu would not be corrupted by other races. A group of people looked at Cheng Yang again. Cheng Yang was stunned. Why did he talk about himself again? Before he could open his mouth, the Minister of Education laughed and said, so Su Yu also ruled out the reason for being of a different race. Everyone nodded. Baden had no objection this time either. The red-faced man suddenly asked curiously, speaking of which, it is said that you compete for talents every year in the training camp, which is as lively as a vegetable market. Why is it that no one of you is robbing Su Yu? What, did everyone assume that he went to reject Peking University? After the words fell, Qian Yun immediately took over the conversation, honor the king. Qian Yun, you are farting, when did we acquiesce that Su Yu is your rejection of Peking University? HMPH. Our Beibei University has the best tactician in all of China, where will we go if Su Yu doesn't come? We at Nanchang University still have the first shot of the human race who is willing to accept Su Yu as an apprentice. Our Vice President Ling of Dongji University is willing to accept Su Yu as a closed disciple. After the red-faced man reignited the flames of war in the observation room, he left the observation room with the minister. More and more geniuses appeared, and the smiles on their faces gradually increased. But every time he thinks about the situation of the deserted battlefield, this joy is immediately diluted. I hope that these geniuses can grow up faster and faster. Night fell. The roar of strange beasts resounded everywhere in the wilderness. Darkness is about to completely cover the entire earth. At the steel gate of Tianyuan City, a group of teenagers came out of the wilderness happily. Brother Kai Yu, you are now the only one in our group who can kill a second-rank alien beast alone. Can we form a team to challenge the third-rank alien beast tomorrow? A group of boys and girls surrounded Kai Yu, the first genius in Tianyuan City. The audience praised him, but Kai Yu was not complacent. He said cautiously, I have just broken through as a warrior, and I am not proficient enough to control my own strength. If you want to take everyone to hunt the third-rank exotic beasts, you may have to wait for 2 days. It's okay, Brother Kai Yu, with you in our team this time we will securely win the first place. Even if we don't hunt third-rank alien beasts. Our team's record is also the best. Kai-yu nodded and said no more. Now for him, the first place in a talent training camp is completely unsatisfactory for him. He is looking forward to the arrival of the college entrance examination and the return of the two who went to the training camp of the 4 schools. Known as the gathering place of national geniuses. He was very curious about how much Song Qingwan's strength would improve after returning from there. He hoped that Song Qingwan could be stronger. Otherwise, the famous 4-school joint training camp would be too disappointing. As for Su Yu, he doesn't see him as an opponent. He greatly admires his tactical talent, but that's about it. The students of No. 1 middle school surrounded Kai-yu and Qin Ling. The other team was also led by Li Wei from No. 3 middle school and Wang Yang from No. 7 middle school. The rest are a few students from No. 8 middle school and those students who they look down on. Although no one said anything, it was because of the existence of Su Yu and Song Qingwan. The students of No. 8 middle school have been silently squeezed out in this training camp. People will always be dissatisfied before they see the gap between each other. Don't you have 2 geniuses who participated in the training camp of the 4th school in your 8th school? Surely you don't need to form a team with ordinary people like us. Aren't you going to wait for your 2 geniuses to return and take you to the sky? It will be embarrassing if they come back without a team. When forming a team, the sarcastic remarks of several other middle school students stimulated everyone in No. 8 middle school all the time. They really want to prove themselves, but the source of students in No. 8 middle school is not as good as No. 1 middle school and No. 3 middle school. Now that Song Qingwan is not here, the gap between them is even bigger. When the other teams, under the leadership of a few great geniuses, easily killed the first-rank alien beasts and besieged the second-rank alien beasts. These people are still doing their best to kill a first-grade strange beast. Looking at the high-spirited looks of the others, Zhang Shizheng said with firm eyes, "This is our true strength, and it was all because of Song Qingwan's presence in the past. This time she is not here, we should prove ourselves even more. At least we won't be too far behind until they come back." "Zhang Shizheng, are you sure that Su Yu is really as strong as you say?" someone asked curiously. Zhang Shizheng nodded. "Believe me, he is not only a tactical genius, he is also a martial arts genius. As long as we don't give up, when Su Yu and Song Qingwan come back, we still have half a month to catch up with them." A group of 8th middle school students nodded, cheering themselves up in their hearts. In fact, they didn't care whether what Zhang Shizheng said was true or not, they just needed a reason to keep going. Wucheng, the training camp of the 4 schools. The small wilderness was also completely plunged into darkness at this moment. The roar of the alien beast seemed extremely permeating in the darkness. In this environment where you can't see your fingers, a figure carrying a dark iron épée keeps colliding with a 4th-grade wild bear. The first time the épée slashed at the barbarian bear, Gao Shi was repelled tens of meters away. The second time the épée slashed, he only retreated 5 meters. For the third time, he took 2 steps back. For the 4th time, the wild bear's roar revealed a breath of anger. He completely knocked the wild bear into the air with his heavy sword. In front of the 6-meter-tall bear, he looked extremely thin. But under this extremely contrasting contrast, every time he swung the épée to make the wild bear keep retreating, it was even more impactful. 200 chi and blood, not yet a warrior. In the dark night, he fought hard with the 4th-rank barbarian bear, becoming more and more courageous as he fought. A few hours later, the wild bear never imagined that it would be exhausted by a small human and die. After beheading the wild bear, Gao Shi was still full of energy and blood. The 4 people guarding the 4 directions, mainly to prevent the wild bear from escaping, hurried over. With the help of the light, he looked at the corpse of the barbarian kneeling on the ground. All 4 of them swallowed their saliva, some couldn't believe that a 4th-rank barbarian bear was turned over like this. In the observation room, several directors also witnessed the almost hand-to-hand battle between Gao Shi and the 4th-rank wild bear. Compared with Su Yu, who shoots like a dragon with a spear and walks like a ghost, he quickly wins the battle. Gao Zi's fighting style is very visually impactful. Dang Ji said with emotion, "Gao Shi should have improved a lot in controlling supernatural powers. According to the data, he has never fought a battle like this before. Feng Wan nodded. If it is said that it restricts other people from hunting exotic animals, it is the consumption of energy and blood. The only thing limiting Gao Shi is the consumption of mental power. In the dark night, his blood is almost inexhaustible. Ba Ting nodded and said, obviously, he has also made good progress in his spiritual cultivation. Looking at his posture, a fourth-rank alien beast is obviously not the target. There is also the use of qi and blood, although because of the ability, he does not have to consider the consumption of qi and blood. But judging from his use of 9 overlaps today, his control over qi and blood has also become much stronger. According to the data, he could perform up to 3 stacks before, and his last strike today was the 5th stack. Several admissions directors analyzed. Deng Ji couldn't help sighing again. If he is allowed to grow up smoothly, in time, Gao Shi will definitely become the god of war on the barren battlefield, which will make the aliens turn their faces when they hear about it. However, compared to Gao Zai's control over qi and blood, everyone, I observed it today, and Su Yu has absolutely no control over qi and blood. She suddenly changed the topic. Although his marksmanship is amazing, he is also able to use the lost step with ease. However, he seems to use qi and blood, except for explosions, there are only explosions. This may be what Su Yu will focus on in the future. Before a warrior, he can rely on his talent to crush all the talents. When everyone becomes a martial artist, the qi and blood will become deeper. Facing those who can master the qi and blood proficiently, he will not have the advantage. So everyone, our Nanchang University has the most experience in qi and blood control among the 4 major colleges. In my opinion, for the cultivation of the future talents of the human race, it is the best choice for Su Yu to join our Nanchang University. Of course, Professor Zug, you can also serve as the lifelong honorary professor of our Nanchang University. Seeing Deng Ji do poorly, the crowd who had been nodding along in the last second immediately stood up and raised their eyebrows. Deng Ji, don't go too far. Qian Yun said each word from between his teeth. Deng Ji Wan smiled. Why did I go too far? I am thinking of Su Yu and our human race. Early the next morning, when the darkness in the wilderness slowly faded. Each team is about to end a night of rest and practice. In the cave where Wu Linlin's team is located, Anna May's whole body breath exploded, and the whole body's blood also boiled. Immediately afterwards, a black substance began to secrete continuously on the surface of her skin. In the cave, the eyes of the other 4 people widened in an instant, and they immediately held their breath. Smelly. The ultimate stink. After 3 consecutive transformations of washing the tendons and cutting the marrow, a black substance several centimeters thick had accumulated on her skin. These substances are all useless impurities in her body. With the end of the transformation, Anna May's aura stabilized, and her qi and blood gradually returned to calm. Wu Linlin and the others covered their mouths and noses and came closer to check. Anna May also opened her eyes. At this moment, everyone sincerely felt the brightness in her eyes. Even though her body was stinking to the sky at the moment, her whole body was still in a dark mess. Fortunately, Wu Linlin had expected it, and took everyone to find a cave with a water spring last night. Anna May opened her eyes, almost suffocated by her own smell. She immediately held her breath, and before she had time to say hello to the others, she rushed into the water spring with a swish. After a while, with skin like jade, she made her debut. And the spring where she took a bath completely turned into a stinking ditch. The cave still stinks. Several people immediately packed up their things and left the cave. After they came out, everyone asked Anna May how she felt after breaking through and becoming a warrior. Anna May understood it carefully. The qi and blood should have increased by at least 10 points, and my ability to control my body seems to have also improved. The most important thing is that I feel that my mind is very clear now and my body is very light. As she said that, she looked at Wu Linlin and said solemnly, Sister Linlin, don't worry, I will definitely help you get your points back. We will never let that Su Yu trample us down. Wu Linlin. She couldn't remember when she confronted Su Yu at all. Obviously never said a word. If there is a chance, she still wants to get to know each other well. Knowing this girl's aggressiveness, she followed suit and said, okay, after you get used to it, we will officially start hunting the 4th-rank exotic beasts. Anna May nodded heavily. Yes. Su Yu, I want you to know that if you can hunt fourth-grade exotic beasts, so can we. She thought to herself, her eyes determined. When a person finds out that he is wrong and is unwilling to admit it, then they will fall into the madness of frantically proving themselves right. The small wilderness on this day is destined to be stinky. Several directors of the admissions office counted, and there were 12 students who broke through to become warriors that night. Among them, Hao Jiming's team, all 4 members became warriors. The biggest change in becoming a warrior is the physical change. Even if the strength and speed, even the vitality will not be significantly improved. However, there will be an earth-shaking gap in restoring qi and blood and using qi and blood. In addition, the direction of improving qi and blood is more clear. 64 upper limb bones and 62 lower limb bones. Every time a bone is tempered with qi and blood, the corresponding qi and blood will be increased. Also, the area where that bone is located will be much stronger than the rest. Tempering all the bones of the upper limbs or the bones of the lower limbs is the pinnacle of a first-rank warrior. When all the limbs and bones are tempered, you will be a second-rank peak warrior. The qi and blood obtained from bone tempering is determined by each person's talent, but the speed of bone tempering is related to the limit value reached by the warrior before. The more times a warrior transforms before him, the faster his bones will be tempered, and the fewer shackles he will encounter. It is rumored that a martial artist who has completed 9 extreme transformations will have no restrictions on bone tempering below the middle level, and the bone strength will far exceed that of other people in the same realm. After Su Yu learned this from Fu Yu, then he became more and more determined to break through and become a warrior as soon as possible. No way, it's really not that he wants to cheat. Gao Shi gained 300,000 points in one night, which is the answer. Early in the morning, he looked at Gao Zai's team, which topped the leaderboard with 500,000 points. The whole person is stupid. He felt that it was enough to open the wall. Why is there someone who is more fierce than him? Seeing that Su Yu kept his head buried, he didn't know what he was thinking. After thinking about it, Fu Yu decided to dissuade him. Su Yu, it doesn't matter whether we can take the first place or not. You must not break through and become a warrior in advance just because you want to be number 1. Your qi and blood can still be improved now, and you can even rely on blood crystals to improve. You are very hopeful to touch the absolute warrior. I believe that with your talent, you can definitely get the 4 major colleges to come up with a high-quality blood crystal for you. Song Qingwan stared at Su Yu. You are not allowed to do stupid things, you don't know which is more important, right? Otherwise we'll knock you out together until the training camp is over. When she gritted her teeth and said these words with a ferocious face showing her small canine teeth, Lin Yan at the side was stunned. Sister, do you really think the 4 of us working together can knock your boyfriend out? I didn't hypnotize you. Song Qingwan seemed to have heard his heart, and she said domineeringly, don't worry, I will go to the front if necessary. Lin Yan gave a thumbs up. Chow Chow said, it's okay, maybe we will meet a 5th-rank alien who is dying as soon as we go out today. At that time, the captain will not need to break through in advance, nor will he need to be knocked out. Lin Yan, Chow Chow, what you said makes sense, I believe you. A group of people seriously discussed whether to stun Su Yu or to miss the 5th-rank beast. Su Yu was a little confused. When did he say that he would break through the martial artist in advance? And Buddy has 300 qi and blood. No, it's not here yet. Boom. Su Yu, who stood and was criticized by everyone, broke out again. Everyone froze and turned to look at him stiffly. Su Yu grinned and said, I'm not in a hurry, I just absorbed the 2nd-grade blood crystal, and now my blood is improving very quickly. What are you discussing? Hee. Song Qingwan took the lead and laughed. The other 3, including Fu Yu, also laughed along the way. Several people seemed to be saying, how fast is your qi and blood increasing? With a smile, everyone felt a little relieved. Su Yu got everyone ready to go hunting. Song Qingwan was still a little worried to find him. Su Yu, you won't lie to me, will you? You can only break through if you can't raise your vitality, she said seriously. Su Yu looked at her with a sunny smile on his face. Sister Qingwan, do you think I'm such a fool? Hey, I don't think you are. Song Qingwan also smiled happily. In the observation room, Zhuge Yun asked around, no, can one of you send a blood tester in? I just want to know how much blood this kid has. Someone's dual training in combat and tactics is basically a certainty. He wants to know now, what tricks this kid can come up with. Day 3 of training camp. The 500,000 points that Gao Zai's team topped the list made many teams feel discouraged. It was also at this time that the crazy pursuit of points officially kicked off. In one morning, Su Yu's team increased by 130,000 points and was ranked second in the standings. The points of all teams began to explode. The ranks at the bottom of the team all started to grow in units of tens of thousands. For the top 8 teams, the points all began to increase in units of 100,000. Su Yu's team, which has always been ranked second, was overtaken by Hao Jiming's team, which gained 360,000 points in one afternoon. At the same time, the gap between them and Gao Zai's team was only 30,000. The rest of Wu Linlin and Su Yincheng also went crazy. In one afternoon, about 150,000 points have been added. In contrast, Su Yu's team's 70,000 points increase in the afternoon seemed much less. Su Yu was also speechless. Seeing the skyrocketing points of these people, he was ready to hang up and play infinite recovery. As a result, after wandering around in a large circle all afternoon, there was no sign of a 4th-grade strange beast. Seeing the night fall, several people once again occupied the magpie's nest and found a cave to rest. For Su Yu, the whole day's battle was quite easy. The other 4 were so tired that they didn't even want to move their fingers. Seeing this, Su Yu also felt that he should take a little more responsibility. So, while everyone is recovering their qi and blood, he secretly planned to break through and become a warrior. Although he felt a bit petty, he felt confident. You all asked me to raise my qi and blood to the point where I can't improve before breaking through. Dude listened. Now that the vitality is 300, it is a great time to break through. Su Yu is going to kill Song Qingwan and they will play later. Anyway, when the time comes to transform 9 times, everyone will know his painstaking efforts. As for now, he knows that even if he talks about breaking the sky, they will not believe that he has 300 blood. In the observation room, several admissions officers saw that Su Yu's actions seemed to be wrong. This is not the posture of the breathing method, this is the body tempering technique. What does he want? Barton asked abruptly. He doesn't want to break through and become a warrior. Qian Yun's eyes widened instantly. Dang Ji frowned. How much blood is he? I don't know. Everyone replied in unison. Then what are you still doing? Feng Wan stood up abruptly. He shouted. Hurry up and ask Lao Wei to stop this kid, he is crazy, a good absolute warrior will not break through. In order to be the first in the training camp, you kid is ready to break through the warrior. Maid, Cheng Yang, how did you teach your students? Zhu Yun, what are you laughing at? Are you thinking that Su Yu will break through and become a martial artist in advance, so that he can major in your tactical department in the future? I tell you it's impossible. Even if he breaks through ahead of time, he is definitely a martial arts genius. Several teaching directors started all-round indiscriminate attacks. On the other side, Wei Yiken, who was guarding the whole small wilderness, was also stunned. According to the regulations, no matter what decision Su Yu makes, they cannot stop it. But now, QTMD stipulates. Boom, the rocks Su Yu and the others used to block the entrance of the cave were smashed. A group of people immediately stood up cautiously, and weapons appeared in their hands. Su Yu had just mobilized his energy and blood, and in an instant he appeared in front of everyone with the Overlord spear. He looked very serious. This momentum has surpassed all the 4-rank alien beasts they faced. Just when the 5 people were waiting in full battle, I saw the instructor Wei Yiken walking and carrying a qi and blood tester. Everyone was dumbfounded by this bizarre scene. Wei Yiken glanced at everyone. Why, are you going to fight us? With that said, he put the gas and blood tester on the ground. He looked at Su Yu. Come on, you kid always want to break through the warrior, come and test it, let me see how much energy and blood you have. You haven't reached 300 yet, so you want to become a warrior in such a hurry. Wei Yiken just finished speaking. Everyone instantly felt a murderous aura stronger than his appearance. I saw that Song Qingwan was staring at Su Yu. A group of people fell silent. In the observation room, several directors who had just rioted because of Su Yu. At this moment, They are all holding teacups and sipping tea, with a vague gloating on their faces. If you want to trick a girl, what will you do now? While everyone was waiting for Su Yu to give an answer, without saying a word, he came to the blood tester and put his palm on it. Qi and blood erupted. On the gas and blood detector, the numbers are displayed. Vitality 300. Quiet. It was very quiet in the cave. Puff, puff. In the observation room, several sips of tea were sprayed out in succession. The 4 directors of the admissions office stood up in unison, their eyes fixed on the number 300. Aside, with a calm face, Zhu Yun said lightly, "Hey, this kid really has 300 blood. Tisk, you are indeed the student I fancy. I don't know what a group of senior masters are thinking. Are we playing tactics without brains?" In the cave, Wei Yiken was also stunned. He looked at Fu Yu. "Fu Yu, come and take a test." Fu Yu came over honestly, put his palm on it, and stimulated his blood. Qi and blood 179. Wei Yiken touched the back of his head and muttered to himself, "It's not broken." Fu Yu, who had just turned around, was visibly stagnant. Su Yu came to Song Qingwan's side with a smile all over his face. "Qingwan, you see I didn't lie to you." Song Qingwan, who had been indifferent before, was now full of guilt. "Su Yu, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have mistrusted you." Su Yu smiled. "What, you see that the instructor doesn't believe me, do you think you are better than the instructor? You think about me, it's too late for me to be happy." But, in just a few seconds, Song Qingwan reflected a lot. In fact, not only this time, the previous tactician assessment, went into the wilderness to hunt strange beasts. Every time, she didn't firmly believe in Su Yu. Looking back at this moment, she only felt that she was extremely bad. Falling into this mood, she completely forgot the past few times, each time what Su Yu did was beyond the reach of normal people. You can believe in ghosts casually. There were many thoughts in Song Qingwan's mind, and she looked at Su Yu firmly. "Su Yu, no matter what decision you make in the future, I will support you unconditionally. Whatever it is, I believe in you." Su Yu felt this girl's sincerity, and was about to speak. Wei Yiken at the side really couldn't stand it anymore. "Stop, stop, stop. Both of you are good boys. No one is wrong. Su Yu, come here." He forcibly interrupted the affectionate revealing of the two. Su Yu still didn't dare not listen to the words of the master and strong man. He trotted over immediately. Wei Yiken said solemnly, "Although you have 300 qi in blood, I suggest you not to break through to the warrior now." "Instructor, why is this?" Su Yu asked. "If you want to become the real strongest in the same realm, you can try to use high-grade blood crystals to break through." After the voice fell, several people at the scene were stunned. "Already have 300 qi in blood, can you still use high-grade blood crystals to break through?" Asked unhurriedly. "What is your martial arts ambition?" "Let the alien beasts in the world be the food of my human race, and drive the barren alien race out of the barren and out of the blue star." Su Yu didn't hesitate. Wei Yiken was not at all surprised by this answer. He nodded and asked, "Then do you think it's okay to become a 7th rank Grand Master by doing these things?" Su Yu shook his head. "What about the 8th rank Golden Body, the 9th rank Great Master, and the Strong King?" He continued to ask. "I don't know," Su Yu replied honestly. "I can tell you that even a 9th rank Grand Master or a God King powerhouse cannot fulfill your martial arts ambition. In this world, there are 9th rank Grand Masters for alien beasts, and even more so for alien races. Just a Grand Master can't drive them out of the barren blue star. Now the great masters of our human race, the kings of the gods, the only thing they can do is to help you children hold up the sky." Wei Yiken looked at everyone, and finally set his eyes on Su Yu. "We still don't know what wonderful and powerful realm there is after the 9th rank of warriors, but if you want to fulfill your martial arts ambitions, even if you just want to get close to it, invincibility in the same realm is what you, the proud sons of heaven and evildoers, need to pursue. Even if you don't know the vast world after the 9th rank, if you can be invincible within the 9th rank, this can be regarded as worthy of the sacrifices of my countless ancestors in China. At least it won't make our human race as passive as it is now on the barren battlefield." In the cave, everyone listened carefully. From Wei Yiken's words, they also got some information about the deserted battlefield. After finishing speaking, Wei Yiken smiled again. So let me tell you now, you are still far from reaching the extreme that you can do. After a senior of my human race reached an absolute value of 300 chi in blood, when he broke through as a warrior, he used blood crystals to take advantage of the power of an 8th rank alien beast to forge his whole body, flesh, muscles, and bones, and create a true immortal source for a 1st rank warrior. Since then, invincible in the same realm is no longer only used within the human race. Even if it is barren and alien, he has never had an opponent in the same realm. Are you willing to try? He looked at Su Yu and asked. Su Yu grinned. Instructor, if the blood crystal of the 8th grade can have such an effect, will the 9th grade be better? Wei Yiken's well-prepared emotions almost failed. He said with black lines all over his head. 9th rank alien beasts don't have blood crystals, and when alien beasts break through to 9th rank, their blood crystals will turn into the source of the Tao and become their Tao Ji. They didn't say anything about blood crystals. Su Yu had a look of pity. Although he didn't even have blood crystals above the 3rd grade now, he might as well look forward to it a little. To be a human being, you have to dare to think, and dare not think about how you can drive away the alien race and kill the alien race's hometown. The corners of Wei Yiken's mouth raised slightly imperceptibly. He continued, let's not mention whether there are 9th grade blood crystals. Just using the 8th grade blood crystals to forge your whole body, while bringing you great strength, it will also bring you greater difficulty in breaking through. When you choose to do this, your advantage of tempering bones that should be hundreds of times faster than others will no longer exist. At the same time, the energy and blood consumption you need to quench your bones is hundreds of times that of ordinary people. This gap between the front and the back may make your cultivation speed even slower than ordinary students of the same class. So you answer me now, do you want to choose this path of being invincible? Instructor, may I know what the last person who chose to do this is now? Su Yu asked. He has already sacrificed, Wei Yiken said softly. His eyes were a little deep. At the 6th stage, I was ambushed by 8 foreign masters, beheading 6 masters and injuring 2. In the end, the 4 golden-bodied strong men of the foreign race made their move, and the 2 strong kings of the gods blocked our great human race master, and forcibly shot and killed Lu Ling. At the last moment of his life, Lu Ling chose the forbidden method of the human race to blow himself up, hurting the origin of the 2 strong golden men, making them unable to recover so far. His life was short, but magnificent. The voice fell. The 5 young men stood in awe. The name Lu Ling appeared in their world for the first time. Just a few descriptions, but let everyone feel the bravery and fearlessness of this senior martyr who fought to the last breath of his life with the aliens. Su Yu's eyes were firm. Instructor, I want to go this way. In the past, Senior Lu Ling was able to kill a 7th rank Grand Master and hurt an 8th rank Golden Body powerhouse at the 6th rank, so I want to do the same. Wei Yiken asked again, are you sure? You have to know that it took Lu Ling 15 years to go from a 1st rank warrior to a 6th rank warrior. If he hadn't chosen this path, perhaps in the past 15 years he would have become a master, or even an 8th rank Golden Body powerhouse. Even if it wasn't for him to scare the aliens, maybe our human race would have a great master now. He made the pros and cons very clear. In fact, in the upper echelons of the human race, there are still quarrels about Lu Ling's original choice. Some people think that Lu Ling chose the wrong path, so the human race lost a lot of power for nothing. Some people think that this should be the case for absolute warriors. Pursuing a higher upper limit is what the human race urgently needs to do, otherwise the human race will never have a chance to come back. Under this kind of quarrel, the second absolute warrior after Lu Ling did not choose the same path as him. But today, the third one appeared. Under the decision of the Minister of Education, this time they decided to put the choice in Su Yu's own hands. There was no flinch in Su Yu's eyes. Teacher, didn't you just say that just becoming a great master and a strong person can't realize my martial arts ambitions? If I choose to back down at this time, wouldn't that prove that my martial arts ambition is child's play? He grinned. At least it's good to scare the aliens. Wei Yiken also laughed, turned around and prepared to put away the blood tester and leave. He just turned around. From behind, Su Yu spat out a mouthful of blood. Su Yu, Captain, what's wrong with you? Brother Su Yu, why are you vomiting blood? Song Qingwan and the others immediately rushed to his side. In the observation room, Several admissions directors all stood up, their pupils constricted. On the scene, only Zhu Yun and the Minister of Education who just came to the observation room had an imperceptible smile on their lips. This kid is not simple. Wei Yiken was also stunned. He was about to help Su Yu check it out. I saw Su Yu wipe the blood from his mouth nonchalantly, and said lightly, "Instructor, are you breaking the rules by preventing me from advancing to warrior?" My breakthrough was interrupted, and my mind was damaged. I won't be able to break through for a while. It is very likely that you will not get the first place because of this. Instructor, should you compensate our team for the loss? Breaking the rules, hurting the mind, and missing the first place. Blackmail, touch porcelain, and blackmail Su Yu, this kid is here for everything. Wei Yiken's mouth twitched. After he became a master, he had never been blackmailed. In the observation room, the 4 admissions directors looked at Zhu Yun and Cheng Yang in unison. Sure enough, there is no lower limit for playing tactics. Su Yu, do you still remember how he was full of vigor and arrogance just now? Tell me what you want. The corner of Wei Yiken's mouth twitched. Looking at Su Yu who was being hugged by Song Qingwan, he seemed to be enjoying it very much. Su Yu seemed to be weak all over, paralyzed in Song Qingwan's arms, and said weakly, "Instructor, forget about my personal loss. The main reason is that the number 1 of our team is gone. Shouldn't the training camp give some corresponding compensation? Otherwise, this is really unfair." Wei Yiken's brows twitched, motioning for him to talk about it. 1 blood crystal of the 8th grade, 4 blood crystals of the 7th grade, and forget about the rest. Su Yu said immediately. No, Wei Yiken's head was full of black lines. Su Yu immediately started to cough violently. Stop, stop, stop. Just tell me what you want. It is impossible to have high-quality blood crystals. All blood crystals are rewards. There are not many blood crystals in the training camp. Wei Yiken couldn't bear it. 4 sets of sea-level spiritual weapons. Su Yu said again without hesitation. Obviously, he was well prepared. Wei Yiken stared at his unchanging face, as if he wanted to see if this guy would blush after extorting. However, someone watched him stare, so he said again, "It would be even better if the teacher can have spiritual cultivation techniques." Wei Yiken sneered. A sea-level spiritual weapon, when you go to university, you need at least 500 credits to start. 4 pieces are 2,000 credits, a 4th-rank strange beast is only 10 credits, and a 6th-rank strange beast is only 50 credits. Su Yu, do you know how big a lion you are? It was said that the weak Su Yu threw a overlord spear and came out. Teacher, how many points do you need for this shot? 1,000. Wei Yiken remained expressionless. Su Yu, oh, it was given to me by a classmate I met twice. Wei Yiken, don't even think about it. It is impossible for me to provide you with weapons now. This is not allowed in the training camp. Instructor, I understand, we can't do things that break the rules. Su Yu immediately agreed. Wei Yiken was almost choked to death by this sentence. The training camp is over. 5 sea-level spiritual weapons, 1 for each of you, he said decisively. There are also spiritual exercises. Here I have Ju Shen Ju, which focuses on improving spiritual power, and the 100 forging method, which focuses on polishing spiritual power. Which one do you choose? Su Yu, instructor, how much are these 2 kinds of university points? Wei Yiken expressionless. The first scroll is 1,000. Then let's do the 100 exercises. Su Yu didn't write any more ink this time. Improving mental power and improving the quality of mental power, both of which are the final links that need to be carried out. The collection of illustrated books can help him improve his spiritual power. In comparison, the 100 forging method is obviously more suitable. Wei Yiken directly threw a jade slip to Su Yu. Before Su Yu could speak, he clicked. I saw him rushing out of the cave directly carrying the qi and blood detector. He was in a hurry when he came, and he didn't bother to put the space bracelet in. He was even more anxious when he left. For a moment, he didn't even want to take the blood tester with him. If it weren't for the fear that this kid would run around the wilderness with a blood tester on his shoulders. In fact, it is no problem to stay in the cave for a few days before taking it. Seeing the instructor disappear instantly, Su Yu raised his hand and murmured, "Why are you walking so fast, instructor? I also want to take a photo of him to thank him." In the small dark wilderness, a fifth-grade strange beast was suddenly blown away with a punch. It didn't know until it died, who did it provoke when it excreted in the hole. In the cave, together with Song Qingwan, several people looked at Su Yu as if they were looking at a monster. In less than half a month, the blood from less than 100 rose to 300, such a speed is simply inhuman. Su Yu said, "There is no gas and blood tester. I am afraid that if I tell you, you will not believe me, so I am going to make a breakthrough and tell you." Everyone nodded, expressing their understanding. There is one thing to say, without a gas and blood tester, Su Yu said that his blood has reached 300, and it is impossible for anyone to believe it. Brother Su Yu, your ability to pretend to be sick is still a bit weak. The tone you just said just looked weak, but in fact you are still full of energy. You have to be like me. As she spoke, Lin Yan instantly turned into Sister Lin. A group of people covered their foreheads and sighed. This guy's way of thinking is really different. When everyone was amazed at the speed at which Su Yu's qi and blood increased, he actually thought of exchanging his experience in fraud. A group of young people laughed for a while, and then immediately devoted themselves to practicing again. The stronger Su Yu is now, the more they don't want to hold him back. No one wants to be the most useless person in the team. Everyone started to practice qi and blood. Su Yu's circulation of qi and blood inspired the emerald jade slip, and in an instant, the cultivation method of the 100 exercises appeared in his mind. In his mind, he tried to gather spiritual power according to the exercises. Let those thousands of invisible and intangible spiritual forces gather together like ropes. One time is a rope, 1 centimeter is stretched for a section, and 100 times is 100 forging method. Practicing this method day and night can not only improve the resilience of mental power, but can even point to the pure state. It is mentioned in the jade slips that the first practice can gather these spiritual powers and transform them into countless silk threads, which is considered a success. Therefore, Su Yu, who was practicing this method for the first time, practiced step by step. Unknowingly, it seemed as if a rope woven by spiritual power appeared in my mind. Then he continued to gather these silk threads together according to the practice method, making this rope stronger and stronger. The last thing is to stretch the rope a bit. At the moment of elongation, he felt as if his whole body was torn apart. Fu Yu said that practicing the art of awakening God will lead to a transparent and incomparable state of mind. This kind of practice can completely replace the usual rest. However, when he practiced the 100 forging method, Su Yu felt that his head was constantly being pierced by steel nails and drilled holes. In the end, there was even more pain, like tearing the heart. Su Yu frowned, and his forehead was covered with veins. After training God once, the moment these silk threads spread out, he instantly felt a transparency from the depths of his mind. Just like after a storm with dark clouds pressing down on the city, you can see the light after pushing through the clouds and mists. Just like taking the first sip of iced cola in hot summer. Su Yu almost blurted out a cool word. But it is precisely the clear relaxation after the extreme pain that makes it hard for people to bring up the idea of doing it again. Constantly tightening and loosening, it seems that the effort is the same every time, but in fact, the pain is multiplied every time. Practicing 100 exercises is a cycle. After one cycle, the difficulty of the next cycle will increase on this basis again. It is no exaggeration to say that practicing the 100 exercises is far more painful than experiencing the 10 great tortures. On this night, Su Yu's expression was sometimes relaxed and sometimes ferocious, 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times. In the observation room, everyone was dumbfounded. At this moment, they are convinced that Su Yu will be an extremely dazzling new star in this era. He not only has extremely high talent, but also has a tenacity far beyond ordinary people. The first time he practiced the 100 training method, he went for a cycle with full energy, and everyone suddenly understood how fast he was improving. Talented, determined, resilient. Su Yu seemed to shine in their eyes. Su Yu felt that there might be something wrong with him. Except after the first time, before starting the second exercise, there was a sense of resistance in the whole body. Every time after that, he was full of expectations and became more and more energetic. It's like fighting monsters and upgrading, he just doesn't accept it, he just wants to see how long he can last. Every time I complete it, I feel a great sense of accomplishment. He will not sink completely because of that short-lived pleasure, he will only look forward to the beginning of the next time. Jumping back and forth in this torture and enjoyment. He truly did the pain and enjoyed it. At dawn the next day, he successfully completed the 100th time of training God. When those silk threads that seemed to be directed by the arms filled the whole mind again. The moment he opened his eyes, an extremely dazzling light bloomed in the eyes. The 4 people who were silently waiting for his training to end did not dare to meet his gaze at this moment. It seems that just by looking at each other, he can see through his whole body. Su Yu also felt as if every plant and tree in the entire cave was under control. He knew that this was an illusion that people would naturally have after their strength improved. It's like after a sudden increase in chi and blood, everyone feels that they can smash the sky with one punch and smash the ground with one kick. It is precisely because of ignorance that this illusion that the world is just in one hand arises. Su Yu closed his eyes and withdrew his mind. When I opened my eyes again, the feeling of radiance disappeared. He is a little excited. After all, this is the first time he has shown extraordinary talent without relying on the system. At this moment, he finally had the feeling that he was really a genius and evildoer. On the side, Fu Yu watched with mixed feelings. He asked, "Have you completed a cycle of forging God?" Su Yu nodded. Well, although the process was painful, it was refreshing and transparent in the end. I can't feel the toughness of mental power yet, but I feel that my control over mental power has improved a lot. As he spoke, his eyes turned blue, and ice crystals began to appear in his hands, and slowly a rose-shaped ice sculpture appeared. There is only one prototype, not very elegant. But this move has already made everyone's eyes widen. The improvement of mental power control means the improvement of abilities. In other words, after one night, Su Yu's strength has once again leapfrogged. It is said that the 100 forging method has to be done step by step. It takes 100 times and 100 days to complete one cycle at a time. You complete a cycle in one night. I think teacher Wei Yiken knows that yesterday he will definitely leave the Ju Shen Ju. Otherwise, you forged your god too fast, and your mental strength will not be able to keep up later. Fu Yu's face was expressionless, but his tone was full of emotion. Su Yu smiled. It doesn't matter. In fact, the 100 refinement method can also improve spiritual power, but it's not as fast as the Ju Shen Ju. Besides, the higher the mental strength, the more difficult the 100 exercises. Now is the right time for me to practice the 100 exercises. Fu Yu nodded. Well, after I step into the realm of warriors, I will also start to practice the 100 exercises. At that time, I will come to the captain to learn from you. The content of the conversation between the two made the 3 people beside them confused. Song Qingwan understood one thing: in order to give full play to her supernatural powers, she had to practice spiritual power. Even 2 kinds of exercises are carried out at the same time. Su Yu's progress is getting bigger and bigger, and her sense of urgency is also increasing. Everyone put away their things and ready to start hunting. Su Yu opened the scoreboard and took a look. First place Gao Shi team, 850,000 points. In one night, 350,000 points were raised angrily. The points of the 9th and 10th place are added together, not as much as they rose in one night. The other teams are considered normal, and there is no such thing as an overnight skyrocketing drama. Their 470,000 points can barely rank second. But the first place has almost doubled their advantage. Everyone looked at the points and hesitated to speak. Gao Zai's team has the ability to kill 3 4th grade beasts in one night. If they wanted to catch up, they would have to kill at least 7 4th grade beasts today and tomorrow. Yesterday afternoon, Hao Zhiming's team also showed the ability to score 300,000 points in one afternoon. Their points ranking is extremely pessimistic. Just when everyone was frowning and didn't know what to do, Su Yu said with a smile, "Let's go, now is the time for us to start chasing points." There was excitement in his eyes. Yesterday's swindling and abduction made him completely confirm one thing. In this training camp, he can show more talents. So, stop pretending. In fact, he doesn't have to think about the blood consumption. At the same time, in the observation room, a group of directors of the admissions office began to disagree on Su Yu's development path. I know that Su Yu has now shown his talent for spiritual cultivation, and his abilities are also very powerful. But I don't agree to let him focus more on spiritual cultivation at this stage. The cultivation of qi and blood is the foundation. The cultivation of spiritual power should not take up too much of his time. Qian Yun said loudly. Feng Wan stood up. You all know that Su Yu chose the route of being invincible in the same realm. He must not be as fast as others in bone-tempering speed. Let him improve his spiritual power in the early stage, and he is more likely to tap the strength of supernatural powers. Isn't this conflicting? It is because his progress will inevitably be very slow in the future, so he must first have the strength to protect himself. Dang Ji frowned, but you asked him to cultivate his mental strength and temper his bones at the same time. Didn't that make his already slow speed even slower? But his combat power is improving so fast. Feng Wan said immediately. Ba Ting. Don't forget, everyone, Su Yu is not only going to practice martial arts, he also has a tactical department. A group of people looked at Zhuge Yun at the same time. The corners of Zhuge Yun's mouth turned up. I thought you all forgot about this. Why, do you want to continue the discussion? Do you think Su Yu is wasting his time in practicing tactics? Everyone didn't speak, but in fact they thought so in their hearts. Zhuge Yun said lightly. Everyone, you are too anxious. I know you all want to let Su Yu rise quickly. But, you shouldn't be in such a hurry. Could it be that our human race can't even last 10 or 100 years? We don't need to think about this, we just need to give him 100 years to explore on his own. It's better to argue with you people here. You might as well tell me first. You made my student fail to break through to the martial artist yesterday, and even made him miss the first place and lose the 8th grade blood crystal. That kid Su Yu doesn't understand the benefits of this, so you guys are really going to fool it with these 3 or 2 crooked melons and cracked dates, right? Last night, Su Yu blackmailed Jia Pengqi. Today, a certain tactical master, Shi Shiren, appeared on the stage to complain for the students. Many years later, the 4 retired directors of the admissions office, recalling the unequal treaty signed that morning, would still jump up on the spot and scold the tactician for their shamelessness. Since then, a new rule has been added to the joint training camp of the 4 schools: tacticians are not allowed to enter the observation room. In the little wilderness, Su Yu didn't know that his untrained teacher had helped him win great rights and attracted enough hatred at the same time. He looked at the 4th grade Asakusa yellow-eyed rabbit in front of him, and his expression was a little excited. I didn't meet a 4th-rank alien beast the whole afternoon yesterday, but I ran into a 4th-rank alien beast head-on just after setting off today, which is obviously a good omen. Without his reminding, Fuyu automatically unfolded the mental synchronization. The bloody lines on the Overlord spear flowed, and Su Yu's spear hit the person, directly killing the yellow-eyed rabbit and Asakusa. Fuyu used bows and arrows to harass on the periphery. Song Qingwan, Lin Yan, and Chao Chao were on their own side, cooperating with Su Yu to surround Asakusa yellow-eyed rabbit. The battle is imminent. After Asakusa yellow-eyed rabbit slapped the Overlord gun away with its sharp claws, it shot at Lin Yan with a single shot. Su Yu had been prepared for his eyes to turn blue, and countless icicles appeared to strike directly behind Asakusa yellow-eyed rabbit. Song Qingwan, who had been using Ice Age as a freezing effect in the past, nodded secretly. For the use of abilities, there is no testing instrument like a gas and blood detector. Many times, when using abilities, one will get stuck in a corner and cannot get out. Song Qingwan had been staying in the Horn of Frozen before, and was blindfolded. While Su Yu showed his supernatural talent, qi and blood exploded, and his speed was not inferior to Asakusa yellow-eyed rabbit in an instant. While letting Lin Yan show his flaws, he erupted with terrifying combat power. With a forced shot, the Asakusa yellow-eyed rabbit was swept away. When the Asakusa yellow-eyed rabbit, who was blown away and knocked down countless towering trees, stood up, there was a puzzled look in his tiny eyes. It can perceive that Su Yu's blood is only so much, so it can't understand how this little thing knocked itself into the air. Asakusa yellow-eyed rabbit is still confused. Su Yu doesn't give him any chance at all. The blood of the whole body exploded unreservedly. With a kick, he came to Asakusa yellow-eyed rabbit with a whoosh. Icicle attack, freezing trap. The overbearing and unreasonable overlord marksmanship, coupled with the ghostly stray step. In just a few back and forth, Asakusa yellow-eyed rabbit was beaten unconscious by him. The crowd who were still waiting in full force silently calmed down their boiling blood. Got it, the four of us are just going through the motions. This idea appeared in several people's minds at the same time. Immediately afterwards, the four saw the Asakusa yellow-eyed rabbit with frozen limbs and ice picks pierced on its body, being shot in the head by Suyu. Rank 4 alien beasts. From meeting and fighting to losing breath, it didn't take 3 minutes before and after. It took some effort to kill the dark cave lizard before. This time, Suyu's abilities and martial arts were used together, which was completely a one-sided crush. The four of them stood aside and watched Suyu holding the camera around to find a pose to take pictures, still a little dazed. In the observation room, about how strong Suyu's talent is and how promising the future is, several admissions directors don't want to say any more. They all have just one problem. This kid exhausted his energy and blood in the first battle today, what is he going to do next time? Do you think it's possible that Suyu called you on purpose? Zhuge Yun said with a smile on his lips. Didn't you just say that even if Suyu breaks through and becomes a martial artist, he won't be the first place? What about now? If he breaks through and becomes a martial artist, the speed at which he recovers his blood will increase. Do you think it's difficult for them to kill 4 or 5 rank 4 beasts a day? He is telling you with practical actions, as long as he wants. He is fully capable of winning the first place. Zhuge Yun glanced at everyone present. None of the 4 admissions directors wanted to speak. This guy has cheated them a lot, and if he talks about it now, God knows if he will kill them again. However, they had to admit that what Zhuge Yun said was very reasonable. The observation room was silent, bewitched by the words of a certain tactician from time to time. All the masters and experts felt guilty towards Suyu. At the same time, some of the other teams in the small wilderness had just set off, and some hadn't finished training yet. Just wanted to see his ranking and the gap with other teams before the hunt started today. Everyone saw that Suyu's team gained another 100,000 points. In Wu Linlin's team, there are 2 more girls who have broken through as warriors today. Anna May looked at Suyu's team, who had 570,000 points and they had a certain gap. She said confidently, "Let's go. Sisters, today, no matter what, we must surpass Suyu and the others. With Sister Linlin and Sister Wenxian plus our 3 warriors, I don't believe we can't surpass them." The others did not agree with her, but their expressions were very firm. Whether it's overtaking Suyu's team or catching up with Gao Zai's team, this is the goal they must accomplish. Hao Jiming and 4 first-rank warriors just discovered a 4th-rank strange beast. I saw that Suyu's team killed a 4th-rank beast just after dawn every day. A playful expression appeared on his face. Interesting, but none of you have become warriors yet. How long can you last in this kind of battle? On the other side, Gao Shi looked at the scoreboard. Vaguely, I always feel that the chrysanthemum is a little unsafe. Shaking his head helplessly, he began to prepare to recover his mental power. At this time, Wu Zhanshan and Lu Shuo said at the same time, "Captain, we need to break through and become warriors now. If we are all warriors, we can give you some help. Tonight, we can hunt at least 1 more grade 4 beast." Seeing the firm expressions of the 4, Gao Shi hesitated to speak. He closed his eyes and began to regain his mental strength. The other 4 looked at each other, and they all made up their minds. The points battle has entered a fierce stage, and it's time for them to be promoted to warriors. Dispose of the corpse of Asakusa yellow-eyed rabbit. Suyu started to recover his chi and blood from where he was, and everyone could see that his chi and blood were exhausted. The 4 of them were not in a hurry to continue hunting, and were ready to seize every minute and every second to improve themselves. They have just started practicing the breathing method for less than 10 minutes. Suyu stood up. The 4 looked at each other, a little confused. "What's wrong with Suyu?" Song Qingwan asked proactively. Suyu grinned. "I've recovered, we can continue hunting. Our hunt has just begun." After the voice fell, the 4 people on the scene, together with several directors of the observation room, were included. At this moment, everyone's eyes widened. Zhuge Yun was also taken aback for a moment. Frowning slightly, he suddenly felt that he needed to find a reason to leave the observation room first. Thanks for watching, please like and subscribe.